Hello everyone! Today is another Patreon-sponsored video. This is a request made to me because one of my patrons noticed that throughout all of the Beast Wars cartoons run, Waspinator, one of the most popular characters of the show, never had an episode devoted to him in its entire 52-episode run. You could only claim that of the episode Possession, which really is not fair to judge it because that is a Starscream episode that just happens to be using Waspinator's body the whole time. We never really got to give the poor guy a little bit of character growth or development or have any real interesting situation. He was Kenny from South Park before Kenny from South Park. You know, you watch to see how he got blown up every episode. So, it falls to me to actually decide exactly what a Waspinator episode would have looked like in Transformers. Now, this is a beautiful thing about hindsight, is I get to put it anywhere I want in the series, and I get to do literally anything I want with it. So while we are doing this, I'm going to not only fill in a gap in the series, but I'm also going to do something I've always wanted to personally do. And big shock, that is to devise an episode. Well, you know what? Before I do that, let me tell you about, we're going to create a bottle episode. Now, if you don't know what a bottle episode is, it's basically when a TV show takes the shortest route to producing an episode they possibly can, aka the cheapest route. The fewest actors as possible, reusing sets, reusing props, never having to really come up with anything new. It's just as much of a budgeted thing as they could possibly get away with. Now, in animation, that is typically done with a clip episode. Transformers, especially in Japan, is full of those. So, in this case, however, it would basically fall down to, how do we produce an episode with the smallest cast as possible? Well, in Beast Wars, that means you make an all Scott McNeil episode, and that is what I have done today in order to create a Waspinator plot. We will have a few bit parts for other actors, mostly grunts and noises, and a little bit of David Kaye at the end, but for the most part, this is basically an excuse to just put Scott McNeil in a recording booth and create an entire episode. So, in order to correctly do that, I am placing this episode late into Season 3, because that's when the odds are even. Anywhere else, and it would be 2 or 3 Maximals to 1 Predacon, which is not a fair ratio. If we do it in Season 3, it's 2 Preds versus 2 Maximals. Alright, so we can go with that. Alright, so, let us begin this tale, and exactly what I would do if Waspinator had his own episode. We open with a look at the Protohuman tribe. They are on the move through the jungle, and they're looking very nervous as they move. They keep looking around. They keep checking over their shoulder. And we hear why soon enough, as a large animal roar is in the distance, echoing through the trees. As it hits their ears, they start quickening their pace and moving along a little bit faster. Something has them terrified. Let's cut to the Maximal base, where Rat Trap is similarly shaken. He is sorting through weapon caches and storage lockers in search of a little bit of a beefier armament than his standard pistol, now that Megatron has gone full dragon mode. Looking for just a little bit more to even the odds. In the process of this, he accidentally topples some of the crates, leaving weapons to start spilling out onto the floor, including a familiar-shaped sword. Now, I know this was disintegrated along with Dinobot's body, but I think it's an important moment for Rat Trap to have, including it under the 2 assumptions. One, that Dinobot would have had more than one of these things, and 2, animation errors and continuity gaffes in 90s cartoons, because even Beast Wars, as well written as it was not exempt from that. So, let's just say for story's sake, there is a spinal sword laying around. And upon seeing it, it is a sour moment for Rat Trap, as he's looking at these boxes that nearly came tumbling down on him. Yeah, figures you'd try to scrap me even after you were gone. It's a half-hearted jab with a moment of silence in there as he holds this sword. And it's broken up by Silverbolt's sudden appearance, as he quickly hides the sword behind his back. No, I wasn't reminiscing about an old friend. Shut up. Silverbolt explains that Rhinox is detecting the proto-human tribes seem to be migrating closer to Predacon territory, and they've been tasked to figure out why. Now, for Rat Trap, this is a job that should be better left to Cheetor, who's more connected to the tribes, but this is about Predacon territory, and Rat Trap's far more familiar with the edges of those grounds, so these are the two who get the job. However, they're not the first ones on site. That would be Dinobot and Waspinator. They are on the move after they have detected similar activity in the jungle. You'll excuse me, as I will now attempt to do a Waspinator voice, and butcher it horribly. I apologize.
Oh, why Waspinator have to go with Lizardbot? Lizardbot scrapped Waspinator last time this happened.
If Megatron is correct, the proto-human tribes may be making themselves a target once more. I need someone to fly and look for activity. And flying is the only thing you are good for. You'll notice I'm not trying to do Dinobot. I cannot do that rasp. I cannot. Alright, Waspinator is dejected. He's the only one left of Megatron's original crew, and he's still given absolutely no respect. Would you rather join Quick Strike in a holding cell, awaiting a smelting? Reluctantly, he follows orders, flying above to scout ahead, grumbling all along, and immediately catches a rocket from Silverbolt as his flying just gave away their position to the Maximals. The blast sends him flying far into the jungle, and as if a Team Rocket moment. So, this leads to a battle between Dinobot 2, as well as the rest of the Maximals, and it does not go well, in large part to Rat Trap continuing to hesitate in the face of Dinobot's clone, allowing him a chance to slice a tree down on top of the two, pinning them as Dinobot proceeds back into the jungle unabated. Once they recover, Silverbolt points out that Rat Trap was clearly rattled by the experience. Hey, nothing rattles me, at least not Choppa-Face's zombie. Silverbolt would rather him be honest about his fallen friend, but he's not hearing it, going to vehicle mode and pursuing Dinobot as quickly as he can. Meanwhile, Waspinator is barely functioning, as a barely functioning head with his visuals glitching. He can see the proto-humans approaching, his eyes shorting out, eventually waking up to the feeling of a club hitting him in the head, pressing it back down into his body. He actually realizes that the proto-humans have put him back together, or at least what they can of putting him together, at least enough for his repair systems to take effect. Basically, they just know where the arms are supposed to go, so they just kind of pushed all of his parts back where they're supposed to be. But it's not a complete repair job. His auto repair systems can get him functioning again, but he's missing a few bug parts of his wings and his gun, effectively leaving him unarmed and unable to fly away. But he is strong enough to at least sit up on a stump and look at his situation. They're not being hostile in any way.
Fleshy bots fix Waspinator?
The proto-humans beckon Waspinator toward another part of the camp where some of the others look hurt. You can see these proto-humans laying down. They have leaf bandages on. They look rough, and someone comes up to Waspinator holding a tusk. This is not the brightest of Predacons. He's not really putting two and two together until he hears the roaring. So this is a case of saber-toothed cats that have been stalking the tribes, and that has been what's causing their move. The jungle brush in the surrounding area starts rustling violently as these saber-toothed cats stalk closer and closer to the camp. They start emerging from the trees. There's a small pack of them here, and the tribe immediately runs for cover, but Waspinator is still trying to mend himself. His systems haven't gotten his systems to the point where he can stand up and run or even physically fight back. This has gotten a little bit tense. As they step closer, Waspinator starts panicking and then starts firing his eye lasers at the ground in front of him.
Oh, Waspinator forgot he could do that.
He proceeds to use the blast to scare the cats back into the jungle. Realizing he actually has a weapon, Waspinator turns to intimidate his captors. And they're clapping. They're clapping and cheering. They're celebrating. Someone is actually praising Waspinator? He's kind of taken aback by this and kind of gets caught up in the moment a little bit as he realizes, well, Dinobot 2's not around. As long as someone is actually singing my praises, why not enjoy it a little bit? What we see beyond is a little bit of a quickly kind of jump cut, a little bit of a montage as we see Waspinator actually enjoying this little bit of celebration. There's little games being played. There's like they're painting masks to look like Waspinator's head. This tribe is absolutely like over the moon for him right now. And yeah, it's a really interesting scene because for once Waspinator actually seems happy. And even happier when some of the Protohumans manage to make it back to the tribe, and they've got his remaining parts, a few more bug legs, but more importantly, his gun and his wings. But even with these parts back in place, he's still enjoying himself. He's not ready to leave this just yet. So, meanwhile, somewhere else in the jungle, Dinobot happens upon a scrap of Waspinator that got missed, and the grooves in the ground left by the Protohumans dragging Waspinator's body back into their camp, giving him a trail to follow. We cut to Waspinator leading the tribe through the jungle, and he says he scouted this area before, and there's a land bridge that they can take that will lead away from the Predacon grounds and away from the cat's territory. So said area is a land bridge over a canyon with a narrow passage on the other side that will eventually lead into another jungle. Waspinator stays behind to make sure everyone at the back of the pack is accounted for, but once he's alone, he starts to hear a familiar metal clacking. Dinobot is here again. I seem to have underestimated you. Once they reach the bridge, eliminating all of them at once will be a simple matter. I apologize, I haven't read a script in a long time. He slinks back into the jungle, leaving a conflicted Waspinator behind. Meanwhile, the Maximals have finally found the same trail Dinobot came across, with Silverbolt sniffing him and Waspinator out. This is going to require something a little bit faster than trying to move through a dense jungle, so reluctantly, Rat Trap picks up a ride from Silverbolt and they start flying over the tree line looking for any kind of commotion, with Silverbolt's nose leading the way. The tribe does reach the land bridge, which in my version of the story does not have Optimus Primal and Dinobot standing on top of it already. You'll excuse me as I'm using whatever examples I have that fit the closest to the story. They reach the land bridge and Waspinator begins guiding them across. But while he's doing this, he's keeping an eye on the jungle and he eventually spots Dinobot lurking in the bushes. And he's readying his eye laser. He's charging it up. It's a tense moment. It's silent. It's Waspinator looking back at the Protohumans that are now completely filling the bridge, looking back at the jungle as Dinobot is now taking his aim at the bridge. And when the shot goes off, Waspinator turns his gun toward the bridge and fires a rocket at it, exactly at the right time to intercept Dinobot's blast, blowing both before they can reach the bridge. It doesn't look intentional, but maybe it was. Maybe it was. Obviously, Dinobot is irate, transforms, stomps out of the jungle. No, Waspinator just dragged. He does not have time. Dinobot grabs him with these talons and grabs him by the neck and throws Waspinator into the canyon, with his wings still inoperable, by the way, leaving him tumbling down out of view. The commotion does draw Rat Trap and Silverbolt's attention, though, which leads us into our next confrontation with Dinobot 2. It does not go well. Dinobot 2 is still, as a Transmetal 2, way more powerful than both of them, and he manages to overpower both. At one point, he does convert to beast mode and manages to pin down Rat Trap, but before he can bite into the Maximal's face, Rat Trap reaches behind him and draws the sword, putting it as to stop Dinobot's jaws, with a spinning blade drawing sparks from his fangs, forcing Dinobot to relinquish the hold and back off, which draws another quick moment from Rat Trap. Oh man, I always did hate it when you saved my tail. Rat Trap stands up to Dinobot now, using the sword of the fallen Dinobot to counter the Talons. He is sword fighting Dinobot with Dinobot's old sword. You'll excuse me, there is literally nothing I can show to have a visual version of this. Once Rat Trap has him sufficiently distracted, though, and the Protohumans have all made it across the bridge, Silverbolt then fires off his rockets, destroying the bridge and blocking Dinobot's pursuit. The Transmetal 2 is undeterred. He uses his beast mode to leap across the other side, transforming mid-flight and landing in front of the Protohumans. It's right on the edge of the cliff. The move stuns the Maximals enough to give Dinobot a chance to whirl around and fire off an eye laser, blasting Silverbolt and knocking him into Rat Trap, disabling both for the moment. Then he turns his attention back to the stragglers. It's a dire moment. The only guard they have now is the leader of the tribe, wielding the hammer of Dinobot, prepared to use it on Dinobot 2. This is a grim situation, though. This hammer is not going to do a thing to this Dinobot. But just as things look their darkest, you hear a familiar shot go off, and the blast right underneath Dinobot 2's feet, blowing up the rock he's standing on and dropping him down into the canyon. Waspinator, with his gun still smoking from the shot, flies back up. It's a quick, heroic little moment for him. He lands back with the Protohumans, and he urges them to continue on through the pathway. And once all of them are across, he gives the rocky surroundings a few quick blasts to kind of cover their trail and prevent any potential pursuit from Dinobot if he's okay. And this draws another shocked reaction from the Maximals, who now fly over and land next to Waspinator. Stunned, they saw this happen. They saw the shot. They saw him actually save the Protohumans from Dinobot. Why?
Now, Fleshybot's nice to Waspinator. Nobody ever nice to Waspinator before.
Silverbolt, ever the hero, says that if he just wants to be treated nice, he should consider becoming a Maximal, which Rat Trap immediately does not like. Hey, no chance, we have reached our quota on former Prids. But Waspinator refuses anyway. Ultimately, he kind of likes being a bad guy, and he doesn't really want to betray Megatron, either out of fear of Megatron or some misguided loyalty. Whatever it is, Waspinator is not ready to make that choice. So, they part ways. The Maximals return to base, and we cut back to the Predacon base, where there is a very different situation than normal, and Megatron is amused at the role reversal of Waspinator being the one dragging in a disabled Predacon, in this case, Dinobot, who is so busted from his fall that even his Transmetal 2 repairing does not really work on this. He is not, however, amused at Waspinator's failure to eliminate a few primitive bipeds, and after a very ferocious berating, orders Waspinator to get Dinobot to a CR chamber. Once Waspinator is out of earshot, he wonders to himself out loud if he really made the right decision, and should he have ever come back at all. And we leave him on that pondering. It is an episode designed to set up his eventual face turn at the final episodes of Beast Wars, when he rejects being a Predacon, sick of being blown up, sick of being evil. This sows the idea into his head of being, something more than just Megatron's lackey and the one to get scrapped week in and week out. It's a little bit of a missing gap. Now, you can understand it in the episode itself, but I feel like this bridges it a little bit more. It also gives Rat Trap a little bit of closure, as well as some interesting dynamics where Dinobot is battling Dinobot's original sword, and Dinobot 2 also comes face to face with the hammer that the original Dinobot made. They're nice little moments that we never really got to have the chance for in Beast Wars. So while this started as a Waspinator project, I think it ties a lot of interesting things together and gives us the chance to see some interesting moments we never got. So thank you for the request. This was actually kind of fun to do. And I don't know if this is like a thing I could do more often. I don't know how many more stories in Beast Wars I could interject, but this was amusing. And I hope you enjoyed the story. I don't know if it really works as an episode, but let me know in the comments below what you thought, and maybe we'll do something like this again. Maybe if someone requests another one, I'll figure something else out. But thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time. Guys, I am facing the most powerful enemy any YouTuber can face, the algorithm, and I need your help to defeat him. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. Every time you do, we attack that algorithm and we drive it back until it can no longer defeat this channel. Thank you very much.